Have you ever just looked around and thought, what is going on with people? Including yourself, right? It's like we're all running on some invisible software we don't have the password to. It's confusing. I mean, think about it. Why do some people absolutely thrive in a chaotic, buzzing coffee shop, while others, well, they need complete and total silence just to think? It's like one person's creative zone is another's personal nightmare. Or what about this one? You've got literally thousands of new shows you could watch, and yet you find yourself hitting play on your favorite comfort show for, what, the 10th time? The 20th? It feels a little weird, a little irrational, but here's the thing. It's not. See, these things aren't just random quirks. They're actually clues. They're part of a hidden language, a kind of psychological code that's running in the background, telling us how to react, how to protect ourselves, and how to connect with everyone around us. And that's exactly what we're going to do in the next few minutes. We are going to learn how to read that code. We're pulling back the curtain on those mental scripts we're all running so we can finally understand what they're saying. All right, so let's jump right in. We're going to start with something we all get wrong a lot of the time: withdrawal. You know, when someone is quiet or pulls away, we tend to label it as something negative, right? Antisocial, maybe arrogant. But what if it's not that at all? What if it's actually a really smart strategy? Okay, take someone who just can't stand crowded places. It's so easy to just slap the antisocial label on them. But the reality is often way more complex. It's something called sensory processing sensitivity. Basically, their brain doesn't have a good spam filter. It's taking in everything, every conversation, every little flicker of light, all at once. It's not that they hate people. It's that their brain is experiencing life in glorious, overwhelming 8K IMAX, and it's just too much. And it's the same thing with people who hate small talk. We immediately think, oh, they're so arrogant. They think they're too good for a normal conversation. But for a lot of these folks, it's about having a high need for cognition. Their brain is just hungry for something deeper, something with substance. So talking about the weather, it literally feels like mental starvation. They're not being cold, they're just allergic to conversations that don't go anywhere. So in both of these situations, you see, being quiet isn't a weakness at all. It's actually a huge strategic advantage. Think about it. While everyone else is talking, the quiet observer is just collecting data. They're noticing those tiny shifts in body language, the changes in tone that give the game away. They think before they react, which means when they finally do speak, their words land with so much more impact. It's a kind of quiet power, you know? Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Now we're going to talk about the scripts we all run for protection. A lot of the things we do that seem, well, totally irrational, they're really not. They're just defense mechanisms, little programs our subconscious writes to keep us safe from getting hurt. Remember what we said about rewatching TV shows? Well, there's a name for that: cognitive cruise control. In a world that feels completely unpredictable, our brains are desperately searching for safety. When you watch a new show, your brain has to work hard, right? It's analyzing everything. But rewatching something you've already seen, it takes almost zero mental energy. You know how it ends, you know it's safe. It's a fantastic way to soothe your own anxiety. Here's another protective script, and this one is tricky because it often looks like a strength. It's called parentification. This is when a child has to take on adult responsibilities way, way too early. They seem so mature, so capable. But as Dr. Hooper points out here, it's not really maturity. It's a survival adaptation. It's a kid's nervous system learning that crisis mode is the default setting. So those incredible superpowers of responsibility, they're often built on a childhood that was cut short. Have you ever noticed this? You can be a completely competent, successful adult, but the second you walk back into your family home for a holiday, bam, you're suddenly acting like a moody teenager again. What is that about? Well, that's something called family systems theory. See, every family kind of assigns roles. You've got the peacemaker, the screw-up, the golden child. And when you step back into that old environment, you get pulled right back into that role. It's like your brain just defaults to the old programming. Oh, and being late, that's another fascinating script. So let's break down the 3 types. First up, the magical thinker. Now, this person isn't trying to be disrespectful. They have a genuine cognitive bias called the planning fallacy. They honestly, truly believe they can shower, get dressed, find their keys, and get across town in 15 minutes, even though they've never ever done it before. They're not lying to you, they're lying to themselves. Okay, number 2 is the secret dreader. This person is late because deep down they just don't want to go. Their lateness is pure avoidance. All of a sudden, they have to answer one last email, or they're just so tired they can't move. You see, the lateness isn't the real problem, it's just the symptom. It's their brain's way of screaming, "You should have said no to this." And our third type, I call this one the main character. For this person, being late actually pays off emotionally. It guarantees that they make an entrance, right? A little flurry of attention when they arrive. It subtly reinforces this idea that important people, well, they get waited for. They would never, ever admit this, of course, but their actions kind of suggest their life is just a little more cinematic than yours. So we've covered our internal code. Now let's talk about the external stuff, the language of connection. Because once you understand these patterns, you can absolutely transform how you connect with other people. It's a game changer. A really useful way to think about this is with the 4 communication colors. It's pretty simple. You've got reds, who are all about results, yellows, who are social and full of ideas, greens, who are calm and just want everyone to get along, and blues, who need logic and data. Now, where do we get into trouble? When we try to speak our own color to someone else. The real secret is adapting. If you're talking to a red, just get to the point. With a yellow, match their energy. You get the idea. But if we want to go even deeper, we have to talk about limbic resonance. It sounds fancy, but it's just the scientific name for when 2 people's brains actually, emotionally, sync up. It's that incredible feeling of being totally on the same wavelength with someone. It's not something you do on purpose. It's this invisible, subconscious bond that just happens. So how can you make that happen? Well, here's a super simple but incredibly powerful tool, the echo technique. It goes like this. When someone opens up to you, listen for one key emotional word. Let's say your friend says, "I'm just feeling so drained." Your instinct is to give advice, right? Don't. Just gently repeat that one word back as a question. Drained? That's it. That tiny little echo makes them feel so heard, and it invites them to go deeper. And that's how you build that connection. Look, understanding this stuff in other people, that's powerful, for sure. But the real magic, the real transformation, happens when we learn to rewrite our own code. This is where you get to take the wheel and become the programmer of your own mind. So let's think of it like debugging our own mental software. Here are a few lines of bad code we can just delete. First, get rid of the need to be understood by everyone. Your peace can't be held hostage by what other people think. Next, delete the guilt you feel for outgrowing people. It happens. It's okay. And please, stop over-explaining yourself. You don't owe everyone an essay. And this one is huge. Remove that urge to constantly prove you're worthy. Your existence is not up for debate. And maybe the biggest, most powerful rewrite we can make is this: letting go of the need for closure. Man, we chase that stuff, don't we? Our brains just hate an open loop. But the hard truth is some things in life will never, ever make sense. People will leave. Things will end unfairly. Real strength, and I mean real peace, comes from being okay with that. It's about learning to live without needing every single question answered. So there you have it. We've cracked the code of withdrawal, we've looked at our protective scripts, and we've explored the art of connection. You now have the tools to be a code breaker for human behavior and, most importantly, for your own. So the only question left is, what part of your code are you going to rewrite first?